have this, and I want to officially welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us on the Million Mom Movement Fierce Friday. If you are wondering who I am, my name is Amy Venner, and I am the founder of the Million Mom Movement. I am one of the owners and founders at Purium, and I'm just really thrilled to be here on this Good Friday edition here of Fierce Fridays. I want to say thank you so much to the council that's here. I know that lots of your kids are off on spring break, so I appreciate you making the time to be here. I know lots of your kids are also still are always homeschooling or off still doing virtual schooling, and that adds a whole another layer of responsibility that we have as parents. So thank you, council, for being here. Thank you, everyone, for joining on to this call. I know that there's typically a format to the call, and I'm probably going to blow the format out of the water for just a minute, but I did want to just take a second and get back to the roots of the Million Mom Movement. What are the roots of the Million Mom Movement? And the roots of the Million Mom Movement are a safe place to, meet people where they are. And that is something that when you're a person out there in the community, and it can be really intimidating looking at some of you guys on Instagram. And we have to remember that, if you're a member out there in the community and you're driving through, you're not yet aware. And that's really what this is all about. It is about awareness. The Million Mom Movement is a judgment-free zone where we can welcome in anyone that is opening their mind to get on a better path of learning what nutrition can do for their bodies, and that really is opening their mind to the possibility of that foundational belief that we have at the Million Mom Movement, that foundational belief that we have here at Purium, that the quality of food that you eat can equal the quality of life that you live. Now, my personal story and the way I got involved is I didn't come from a family who didn't spend a lot of time thinking about, educating about nutrition. We just ate what we ate. We ate 3 meals a day. I'm from Texas. I had Dr. Pepper every day. I lived on a diet of meat and cheese and sugar. My favorite food in the world when I was a kid was ham. I can't even believe that now that I say that. And my grandmother is still, well, she's passed away now, but up until the time that she passed, she was still mad at Dave Sandoval for convincing me not to eat ham because that was my favorite food as a child. And it's our job here, because I truly believe that when you don't know what you don't know, how are you to make the best decisions for yourself and your family? So my grandmother just saw Dave as somebody who took my joy away because she didn't know. But really what Dave did for me by educating me that ham wasn't the best choice for my body, educating me, bringing this food philosophy to life, is he radically, drastically changed my life forever. And I truly believe he added years to the back end of my life by exposing me to this level of knowledge, this quality of food, and he added quality years to the back end of my life. Because when we're in our teens, when we're in our 20s, when we're in our 30s, even our 40s, our genetics are just doing their thing, and And so some people can look pretty healthy on the outside, even when their insides are suffering. But when we get into our 60s, we get into our 70s, our 80s, and our 90s, and I plan to live a really long time, that's when these things begin to take a huge, dramatic, cumulative effect. And I want to feel, and I'm sure you do too, I want to be around for my, not just my grandchildren, but my great grandchildren and my great great grandchildren if possible. And I want to feel as good as I do today when I'm in my 80s, when I'm in my 90s. And so I truly believe, Dave Sandoval truly believes that if you move your needle on the way that you look at nutrition, that you can do that. Not only add years to the back end of your life, but add quality years to the back end of your life so you can be around for those special moments for not only your grandchildren, but for generations. And so that's really important to me. That's really, really important to me. And as a parent, I want that for my child. So my personal story is my parents were unaware. They didn't know what they didn't know. That's where I started on all of this. And I developed acne when pretty severely when I was a teenager. What do? We just go to the regular doctor. No one asked about my diet. Nobody asked about how am I eliminating. Nobody asked how much water, what kind of water I'm consuming. And all they did was give me prescription. They gave me antibiotics, which what do we know now? If I was having a gut issue, it just made it worse, right? But of course, we don't know that. Nobody knows that at the time. Gave me topical stuff that just burned and peeled my skin off. But what was really happening is my gut was thrashed. I grew up in a suburb outside of an agricultural community. My grandmother owned some land. My uncle farmed that land. We went out to that land all the time. We grew vegetables, and it was so fun to grow our own potatoes and grow our own watermelons and squash. And we went out to this land all the time. Now, this land farmed cotton. And if you know anything about traditional cotton farming, it is one of the biggest uses of Roundup, right? Because every season they pour massive amounts of glyphosate, pour massive amounts of Roundup on the crop to kill all the leaves, to defoliate. So I didn't really know what Roundup was. I didn't know what glyphosate was, but I knew that my uncle loved this magic chemical that he got to spray on the crops that made it so much easier to go through with the picking machine and get all the bolls of cotton off the stalk. Now, unfortunately, he'd been doing that for years and years and years. This was a magic chemical that had appeared and made his job so much easier, so he thought. What he didn't realize is this magic chemical, in my opinion, ended up killing him. My uncle became obese. He was over 400 pounds. He was on so many prescription medications, it couldn't even count them. I gave him back in the 90s, I gave him organic kamut blend, the product that Dave introduced to me to start helping me with what he thought. He said, I think this can help you with your skin issue. So I started taking it. I was excited about it. I introduced it to my uncle. My uncle started having such reactions from detoxification. And I mean, he was sick. He's like, I mean, we know when we lead people through cleanses and they get detoxification reactions. Well, I think the glyphosate levels in my uncle's body, along with everything else, he couldn't handle the detoxification, and it literally knocked him out. And so my uncle was very sick, and he had to stop farming. He couldn't farm anymore. He lost what he loved in his 60s and then he didn't want to live. And so with his condition of his gut, with his condition of his body, like he lost the will to live, and he ate himself to death, and he drank himself to death, and he fell into a deep, dark depression that I now, knowing what I know, I can link it back to the years of exposure to Roundup. And not just a little bit of exposure. This is not killing a patch of grass to make a flower bed. This is spraying it pervasively over thousands of acres a few times a season. And so when I put those links together, and the suffering that I had occurred, which was just like this little baby portion of what had occurred to him, like how my gut was thrashed and how that was affecting my skin. And then when I realized this is what had happened to him, like, it makes me angry. It makes me really, really angry. And, it makes me angry that we didn't know at the time. We didn't know that this chemical was hurting so many people. Well, now we know, and now we are doing something about it. We're promoting organic, we're promoting cleansing and detoxification. We have a product called Biome Medic that can help detoxify and cleanse this glyphosate out of our bodies. We know that we can support ourselves with quality nutrition. We can build back up our guts that may have been ravaged by this chemical, by overconsumption of antibiotics, by stress. And we now know the importance of what the gut does for so many systems in the body. We know that it affects cognition. We know that it affects our hormones. We know that it affects our immunity. And so it's a burning passion to get this message out. One, stop consuming products that have glyphosate in them in your diet. Make a hard line commitment for yourself and your family that you're going to buy organics. You're going to talk to your friends when you go over to their house and you see, and you're going to do it in a loving way, in a non-judgmental way, because you want to be close to you got to be close to the people you can help, right? If we alienate people by being judgmental, how are we going to help them? So lovingly tell them about it in a non-judgmental way, but tell them about it. Buy it. Use the power of the dollar to buy organic and to teach our children the importance of organic, so our children are never in the spot that I was in, that our children are never in the spot that my uncle was in, where they're being doused and saturated with this chemical. They're living in this chemical. Now, we know, unfortunately, if we go play golf, I don't know if anybody here, if you're a busy mom, you may not have time to play golf, but if we go play golf, what do? They douse our golf courses, unfortunately, in glyphosate. Many municipal parks are still using glyphosate. Now, many municipalities, thanks to people like us that are raising our hand, that are making a commotion, many municipalities have banned the use of glyphosate. And that is why we can't stop. We can't stop what we're doing. We can't stop the activism. We can't stop the awareness. But we do it in a constructive way. And we know that unless we live in a bubble, and unfortunately most of us don't, but unless we live in the bubble, this chemical is pervasive. So what are we going to do? We're going to arm ourselves with something that can help cleanse and eliminate it from our system. We're going to check the food that we eat, so we're not intaking it through our food supply. And we are going to raise our hand every time we can and let our voice be heard to municipalities, to lawmakers, to food manufacturers, to anyone that will listen to let them know that we know the dangers of glyphosate and that we want it out of the food supply. And at the same time, we know that's going to take years, but it does take consistent action. And we can't wait to protect our own self, right? Like we know it's going to take years to get this chemical out of the food supply. Even when we get it out of agriculture in the United States, it is going to take years to get it out of our water supply, if ever. It's going to take years to get it out of that land that it has been sprayed on for years. So we've got to take it into our own hands, what we're doing to support ourselves and our families. What we're doing to support ourselves and our families from the pervasive use of this dangerous chemical. And so that's what the Million Mom Movement is kind of about to me. It's about saving people, creating awareness. So if we can help take away suffering from that teenager, take away suffering from someone who thinks that they're gluten insensitive and can't eat anything with gluten. Well, maybe they're glyphosate sensitive. Take away someone who's having the suffering from someone who's having chronic immune, systemic immune challenges, because maybe with supporting the gut, maybe with cleansing the glyphosate out of the system in combination with supporting the gut, that those symptoms can lessen. And with the right tools being given to the body with high quality superfood nutrition, both in the choices you make when you go to the market and incorporating Purium products into your life when maybe you don't have time to go to the farmer's market and juice every day, you can know for sure you're getting those quality nutrients once or twice a day by using Purium. And then when you do have the time and it's super fun to take the kids or go with your partner or your friend to the farmer's market and mosey around and get stuff and juice, like that's awesome. That's awesome. But I unfortunately don't have the time to do that on the weekly. I wish I did. I actually don't even have time to do that on the monthly. But what I do have time to do is do this on the daily. I have time to do this on the daily, and I have time to do this twice a day. I actually set an alarm because I forget to make my afternoon shake, but the morning doesn't get past 10 o'clock without me having the shake, because a power shake, and I add Aloe Digest, I add cocoa hydrate. That's my special recipe. My kids like the Epigenius kids, and that helps them get the Biomedic because they don't love swallowing capsules. But my morning doesn't end without me having Biomedic, without me having a power shake or a superfood shake of some variety, because I know that's what my body needs. I know that even with the relatively clean diet that I eat, my organs are on overtime trying to keep up with the toxins from just going outside. I mean, I live in Southern California. Unfortunately, there is pollution. Most of us live in cities where there are pollution. So even with your diet being as clean as possible, we are being exposed to environmental toxins. And with the level of stress, the stress load that we're on because we're active, we have busy lives, our organs need help, our organs need support. And I know that by incorporating in that thing that takes me literally like 30 seconds to fill up the shaker bottle, like less than a minute to open the containers, close them back up, shake it back up. So in under 2 minutes, I can support my body and what it really needs. I mean, that is something that I wish for everyone. And that is, again, part of what the Million Mom Movement is about, is introducing these options, introducing these solutions to people. And then we are confronted with, I can't afford that. I can't afford that. When I go to the market and I look at organic strawberries versus conventional strawberries, there's a $1.50, $2 difference per pack, you know, and I'm struggling. I know because I've read the Dirty Dozen list and I know that some of these things are on the Dirty Dozen and my kids love strawberries. What am I supposed to do? Like, here's the thing is that we have a plan, we have a program here at Purium where it's not magical. It does take work, but it's not that labor intensive, just to be honest, to get your products, your monthly consumption of products paid for by sharing your experience, of these products, by sharing potent and powerful stories of how other people have up-leveled their health, have up-leveled their mental health, have up-leveled their physical fitness, have up-leveled their ability to be engaged and active parents by using these products. Changing their diet has changed their life. And so with a relatively low amount of effort, you can get your products paid for, so you can incorporate this nutrition. If you need $200 extra in your budget a month to buy organic, conventional versus organic, you can set a goal and you can pretty easily do that. You know, there's this next level of work. Of course, it's more effort and energy and concentrated focus. But if you want to get your car payment paid for, if you want to get a major bill in your life paid for with intention, focus, and work, you can totally do that. There's the next level. You want to get your house payment, you want to get your housing payment paid for, which is usually multiple X your car payment. Again, with a more effort, more intention, more focus, more sharing, more impact that you're making in the world, you can do that too. And I know there's actually a few people on the line here today that have supported their families when maybe their partner, their spouse lost their job, with their Purium income, with their passion for nutrition and helping people. There's people on the line today and there's people in the company today that have retired their partners, their spouse, their husband, their wives. There's people on the phone today that when they got sent home during the pandemic, when they were personal trainers and they were bodywork professionals and they were told you can't be face to face with anyone, and their lives were severely impacted and they were wondering, how am I going to make ends meet? How am I going to feed my family? Purium and the Million Mom Movement was there. They put the effort, they put the energy, they put the focus into taking care of their own immune health, in getting this message out to people, the power of supporting your gut, supporting your immunity, what it can do for you. And the income started flowing. And bills were being paid, needs were being met. And the most beautiful thing is when things started to open back up and the massage, you know, the spa opened or the studio was able to open again, it gave options and it gave solutions. For those that didn't want to work as many hours as they were before, they had options. For those that actually couldn't stand the profession, maybe the service-based profession that they were in, or they were working in an environment that wasn't fulfilling them, they had options and they had solutions. And so many people in this Purium family said, no, thank you. And they didn't go back to the office. They didn't go back to the profession that they did not love. And so Purium is growing. The Million Mom Movement is growing. And the Million Mom Movement and Purium are impacting thousands of lives. And we are just getting started. We are just getting started. I want you to know Dave Sandoval and I have a big vision. We have held this vision for over literally 26 years. So I was 19 years old. Oh gosh, maybe it's been more than that, 27 years. I was 19 years old when Dave introduced this philosophy to me. It radically changed my life. It was so profound. It took a shy girl in Texas that couldn't even push the cart at the grocery store. I was embarrassed that somebody was looking at me, that I was pushing the cart wrong at the grocery store. And it turned me in to a person that wanted to shout from the rooftops the power of whole food nutrition and what it could do for your body. Now, granted, it's been a roller coaster ride for me. It's been a roller coaster ride that, yes, I wanted to shout it from the rooftops, and I was so scared that nobody wanted to hear what I had to say and that my story wasn't important. And I have gone up and down the roller coaster over the years wondering about that until a few years ago and wondering who else could tell the story better. And I was just sure I knew for so many years that Dave Sandoval could tell the story so much better than I could. And that my job was just to keep the company running, that my job was just to do the behind the scenes work so these products could continue getting out to the world and radically impacting, transforming, and changing lives for the better. But then I realized something clicked on. I was a mom. I was looking out through the Purium community, and I saw other mom friends being so confused about nutrition, not knowing what to do. And I realized, I'm like, like, this is my peer group. This is my peer group, and get over yourself. Get over being embarrassed that you're not as good of, at speaking as Dave. Get over it and lead the way. Be real, be authentic, and get out there and share this message and connect with your own demographic, connect with other moms, inspire other moms, let them know that we are here. The Million Mom Movement is a safe place to meet them where they are. Give some good, better, and best options. And you know what? My good, better, and best options, like now I am not embarrassed to say, several years ago I was. Jody Parker's good, better, and best options are on a different scale than my good, better, and best options. But you know what? I love you, and I think you love me, and you don't judge me because my scale is not exactly the same as yours. And that is who we are at the Million Mom Movement. I mean, and so once I realized that, once I came and I believed that in my heart, because I don't eat and Jody Parker, you are like the ultimate in my mind. And I love you for that. I absolutely love you for that. And once I got over myself, that I don't eat exactly like that. And for many people, I'm the ultimate because they don't know a Jody Parker. You know what I mean? And when the kids come over to my house, they're like, whoa, Madeline and Addison's house is like the healthiest house I've ever been to. And then my kids say, oh my gosh, when I meet Alora, and I mean, they're like, whoa, I remember going to dinner with them. I mean, it's funny, but that's who we are at the Million Mom Movement. Good, better, and best. As long as we keep that in our mind all the time, you can keep moving your needle. You can keep upping the dial of what good, better, and best is. And you know what? Good, better, and good might just be ordering, chicken at the drive-through versus a burger. I'm not saying that's not mine, but I'm just saying that we have to meet people where they are if we're going to make an impact, and we're going to keep moving their dial. And that is what the Million Mom Movement is all about. And Purium is such an easy, convenient way to move the dial. And that is why these programs, they're working. We are bringing people in. You are exposing people. We're bringing people in. We're meeting people where they are. You no longer have to give up all food for a certain amount of time to feel like you're part of the community, the transformation community. And yes, somebody just said showing grace is the key. I agree with that 100% because I don't want to alienate anybody. I don't want to make anybody feel less than. I know what it feels like to feel less than. And I think my story, and I'm going in circles, but when I got over myself, that I wasn't perfect, that I wasn't maybe meeting the very highest standard, but I was doing something impactful, incredible, and amazing in the world, and that my story had value, and that I actually have a gift that I can connect with others. Get over yourself and get out there and do it. It's selfish and unfair not to. Now, we all have this fear. I think we're born with fear. We're born with love. We're born with fear. These are these two juxtaposed emotions, right? And sometimes the fear overtakes the love, you know? And as intelligent human beings, that's our responsibility. If you feel responsibility, you have to let the love overtake the fear and know what you're doing and you're putting out in your heart is about love. It is about potentially being an intervention in someone's life. Like, you have the power. We all individually and collectively have the power to be an intervention point in someone's life. And so I do say, I'm like, Dave Sandoval was a major disruptor in my life, a major intervention point in my life. He didn't even know it at the time, but he carefronted me. He confronted a stranger, never met me before, walks up to me at this trade show, says, like, I'm noticing you have this problem. Here's the solution. He really had no idea I needed that in that moment. I wasn't wearing a sign that says I need rescuing, but somehow, like, he was so confident in the power of what his product and Whole Foods could do that he didn't need me to have a sign on. He was just shouting it from the rooftops. And I was just there. I was just there. I was just in his pathway. And so he shouted it to me, and I reached out and grabbed it, and I personalized it, and I took a hold of it. And like, so I'm like, whoa, what would my life be like if I hadn't bumped into him that day? Right? Like, I would still be drinking Dr. Pepper, and ham might still be my favorite food. And I probably would have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, heart disease, and who knows what I would weigh. Who knows what my state of health would be. My gut would have been shot because I don't know. I mean, maybe I would have woken up, but maybe not. And so I urge you, like, if you can feel the passion, if you can feel the love and the hope that we have here at Purium and the Million Mom Movement, pay that forward. If you can feel like what Dave Sandoval has done for me, and know in your heart that you have the capability to do the very same thing. And remember, like, he had no idea if I was going to go, like, who the heck are you? And why are you telling me I have acne? Like, please, like, don't talk to me. Like, he didn't know, but he didn't care, honestly, because the love overtook the fear. The love overtook the fear, and he has a responsibility to humankind in his heart, that when he knows something, and this something that we have can help people, the love overtakes the fear, and he shouts it from the rooftops. So I encourage you to, if you are feeling afraid, to get the message out, to put the message out in a bigger way about Purium, about the Million Mom Movement. Think back about that. Think about Dave Sandoval. Think about the love overtaking the fear when you have that kind of responsibility. When we know what we know, it's our responsibility to get it out to the world. So that is the Million Mom Movement. That is why I am so passionate about this. That is why I get up and come to the office every day to ensure that this quality of food and nutrition is available and that this income stream is available and that we are collectively able to be that disruption, that we are collectively able to have that intervention in people's lives, that disruption in people's lives, exposure in people's lives, be a safe place for them to make a shift and have amazing things happen in all aspects of their life. So I want to say thank you so much for being a part of this Purium family. And I want to now bring on the council members. And I want to have the council members share the pledge that we have here at the Million Mom Movement. And I would love to hear, from each of you for a few moments, just of what is the Million Mom Movement? What's it done for you? And have you had a love fear experience and how you push past that? And what's your commitment to shouting it from the rooftops, just like Dave Sandoval? So Jody Parker, you're in my first box to the right. Do you want to go first?
I can do that. Definitely. Thank you, Amy. I had no idea you saw me that way. So thank you for the shout out. For those of you who don't know, my name is Jody Parker. Obviously, it says it. And I have been a member of the Million Mom Movement Council since its inception. And I have lived this way for the better part of almost 2 decades because my oldest, who is almost 17, oh my goodness, nearly died when he was 5 months old. He went into early liver failure and I had to save his life. And that's why I know so much about toxin-free living. And that's why I'm so passionate. And I'm going to start with the pledge because you asked us to do that. I'm going to share my screen so you all can see this pledge and read it along with me. So when you go to millionmommovement.info, you will see this. Just so you know, if you give us your information, it just comes to us. We don't share it with anybody. And if you come here under movement and hit join, you will also see that same place where you can share your information with us and be a part of our newsletters and our information. And if you scroll down, you will find the pledge, which all 6 of us, really 7 of us on the council, we just rewrote it. And we're very excited about our new and improved pledge. So read along with me. I pledge to defend the health of myself and my family. I pledge to choose organic foods that are minimally processed and free of man-made ingredients. I pledge to read labels and educate myself on all aspects of clean living. I understand that my actions today will positively impact the health and environment of future generations. I am committed to sharing this movement of many. I am the Million Mom Movement, joined by my 7-year-old Leora. So this is my youngest, and she is a product of the Million Mom Movement, right? Why don't you tell them how you see the movement and how you see Purium and healthy living, and coming from a child's point of view, what can you tell people and share with them?
That I share with them to read labels before they eat things and make sure that they're not eating poison, because even if it's a treat and it tastes good, if it's poison, then it's not a treat. It's just poisoning you. So I want to tell you guys, read labels, protect your family, and eat healthy.
I don't know if I need to say anything more. This is what happens when you're a Purium baby from the very beginning. This child, every time she goes through a growth spurt, goes and gets herself chlorella because she knows it has growth factor in it, and she eats it as a snack. She makes herself juice bar in the bag and uses the family nutrition pack every single day, as do my 2 older teenage boys who eat a whole lot more than she does. But you asked, what was the other question you asked? When have I felt afraid and worked through it? Every day. Every day we wake up and we find something that challenges us and that somehow in some way we feel we're not up to it. And I find that the way to get through that is to go back and look, where was I and where am I now? And what knowledge do I have to move these steps forward? Lean on your community. I definitely have had to lean on my community when I have those moments, and really be grateful. Be grateful that you have this community to live on, that you have this knowledge, that you have these opportunities and these products to make you feel better. And when you get into that place of gratitude, it has that, there's a word I want and it just left my mind, but it alchemizes, that's the word I want. It alchemizes that fear so that you can come back to center and come back to that place of love. And you just keep doing that. And this is the journey and this is the practice. And it's not about the end point. It's about step by step, each moment deciding whether you're going to choose love or choose fear, and being conscious of that and being mindful of that. So that's my advice for today. Carmela, you're next because you're in the next box. So take it over, Carmela.
This has been such an emotional call, just listening to your story, Amy, and then knowing my counsel and why we are so passionate to be here and why we always show up for each other and why we always want to show up for this community. We all came from a place of suffering. We all know what it's like to suffer. And what happens with people who know from a deep space what that feels like is we want to help the world because we have tools. We have the tools. So as a child, I've had an autoimmune condition since I was 2 years old. I knew it, and I've always knew that I was different, and the diagnosis has never matched my experience. And so when I found this comprehensive system, I had already had 20 years of a holistic practice that I was trying to discover myself and heal myself. And it wasn't until really I was raising my children, my 7-year-old and a 10-year-old, that I knew that I just did not want the same future for them that I had to experience. And so it's a very emotional road for me because I know that a lot of the moms who are struggling with just that shift to make a lifestyle change, it's like sometimes you have to hit rock bottom and you want to be there for them. You want to be there for the others who are suffering because often they just don't believe that anything is possible. And so you build a strength by being a part of our movement because there are so many other moms here who know all the tools that that may really shift you out of your own suffering. And so, yeah, Biomedic, when it came onto the market in 2018, when I saw it speaking my language, I was so grateful. And that's why I'm just always going to be home with Purium and a lifestyle, because Purium teaches lifestyle. I'm not just here to sell products. That's the last thing I'm interested in. Even though I was a wellness center owner, I was really more about having the transformation experience with another human being, because that's the legacy you can leave. And we're doing it for our own families, but we have to do it for the world around us. And we get to be a part of something that takes a stand that really impacts people on the deepest level, which is really their core health. So I'm going to pass the mic on to Tots.
Thank you, Carmela. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Jody. Okay, so my journey started 12 years ago, and I had everything from, or like I always say it, from head to my intestines, from aura migraines to GERD to Crohn's to inflammation, eczema everywhere. And when Amy was talking about fear, you know what? When I was going through all of this, I was almost embarrassed to share this with anyone. No one knew I was going through any of this. No one knew how much I was suffering. I kept it all within. I was going to the hospitals. I was taking all my medication in silence, in complete silence, all while working in the labs. And I knew that none of my doctors had any solutions for me. They never presented any solutions for me. And they actually told me, this is how you have to live. Get used to this. This is your new normal. And for some reason, I couldn't accept that. It did not feel right. But so I'm living this healthy lifestyle. And then something happens to my son. My son, when he's born, he develops eczema all over his body. He's going to the bathroom 6 times a day, and he starts developing what I recognize as Crohn's. Here I am all over again, back in the emergency room. My story I didn't share. I was so embarrassed to share my story because I'm like, what happened to me? It must have been my fault. It must have been my fault. And why would I ever expose myself like this to the world? But when it happened to my son, something happens to us as moms. We're like, we become a mama bear, and we're like, there's no way that you want see your kids suffering. To see my son going through all the hospitals, getting all these blood tests, all these testings, it was life changing. And I'm like, wow, God gave this to me again. I went through it and I didn't share this. And now it's coming full circle to my son. So I listened to that loud and clear. Okay, something's happening and I'm missing something. I'm living the ultimate healthy lifestyle, or so I thought. What could I be missing? And then when biomedic was presented to my life, maybe this could be a glyphosate toxicity. I had never heard of glyphosate. When I heard this word, I almost thought it was made up. I'm like, there's no way this even exists. How come we don't know about it? How come I don't know about it? And if I was in the medical industry and I had no idea, imagine how many millions of families, of moms, of humans who do not know. And that outraged me. And I'm like, I need to share this with every single person. So back then, when biomedic was introduced, it was in the capsule, right? So I'm like, what do I have to lose? Let me try it. I would open it and sprinkle it on my son's tofu scramble. Within 3 days, all of his issues went away. And that moment, I'm like, okay, I am a true believer and I need to share this story with every single person. And when I share this story, I almost scream the story because I'm like, you must know of all the toxicity in our food, in our environment. It's unavoidable. Even if you're having organic foods, how about the water you're drinking? How about the parks you're going to? It's in everywhere. And the more we become educated, you can't keep this education within. Isn't that the whole point of school systems? You share your education. So this is what I do. I share this with every single person, every single mom that I meet. The more they start thinking and knowing that that food equals poison, what happens? We start making different choices. We start changing lives. And this takes time. People see the way I cook today and the way I eat today. I didn't start off this way. Like Amy, like I grew up in the most junk, like candy and cheese. This was like my life. But you know what? I was suffering. My body was suffering. So this is what it means to me. And Purium is beyond part of my life. I like describing it as part of my limb. Who would I be without my arm? My arm is part of me. Purium is part of me. It's who I am. It's more than what I do. And I'm so beyond grateful. Thank you so much. Do we have other council members on?
I think we've got Naiva next.
Naiva, yes.
Hey, aloha everyone. Thank you so much for sharing your story today, Amy. That was absolutely amazing. And I hadn't ever heard that version of the story. And so that was really profound. Get to know you a little bit better and get to learn that about your family and your roots and where you came from and how you've come to where you are today. And for me, the Million Mom movement has really impacted me. Many of you have heard my story, but if you haven't, I was at home on maternity leave when I first got introduced to this incredible movement. And right away, I saw the power behind the Million Mom movement because I was on maternity leave. I was at home with my son trying to figure out what will I do in a few months when I have to return back to work. Like the thought of returning back to work after being at home for a few months with my precious new baby Mind you, I had 5 older kids in 4 different schools. So my life was hectic, crazy busy in the mornings. I would get up, I would get the kids ready and off to school on time. I'd come home, the baby would be ready for a nap. By the time I got him down, the chores were overflowing. And so my day was busy. And I was trying to think, like, how am I going to go back to work after this? How am I going to get the dishes done and the laundry done? How am I going to pick up the kids? Like, how can I even fit my job back into my life with a new baby, because babies take so much time. And I didn't want to leave my baby with somebody else and pay somebody to watch my precious, innocent little being. First of all, you don't know, if you can't be there breastfeeding them and whatnot, you don't know what that person's going to give your baby or the love and attention that they are going to give your baby. And so, as a mom, it's a heart wrenching feeling when you have to be torn away and go back to work. And so this fell in my lap at the perfect time. I was 4 months in on my maternity leave. I had 2 months left, and I got introduced for the nutrition. As a super busy mom of 6 children, I barely had time to feed myself. I often would skip meals. And I was introduced because my friends saw that need. And so right away, I jumped on board and started to implement adding in the superfoods on a daily basis. And very quickly, within the first few days, I started to feel that I had more energy. I was in a better mood throughout the day. I had more energy for the kids when they came home from school at the end of the day, and I had to do homework and still had to get dinner on the table. And so I was seeing this shift in my day-to-day life. And through that, I started sharing that with other moms in my community. It was really simple and easy. It wasn't even a forced thing. As moms, as people on this planet, we love to refer our friends to things that we love, right? And that's how it all started for me. I just started naturally sharing it with other moms that asked me, "What is it that you're doing?" Or "What is that shake you're drinking?" Or, "Wow, you look like you're so rested. What are you doing differently?" And so I had to share with them what I was doing. And through that, I started to create a little income. And that income within 2 months had replaced my part time income at my prior job, you guys. And that is where my aha moment really came through. And I was like, wait a minute, I can actually tell my job that I don't want to come back. And it happened really synchronistically. Around the same time, I had received my bonus check from Purium, and my boss calls me and says, "Hey, I want to put you back on the schedule. When are you available?" And I looked at my calendar and I thought about it for a moment, and I said, "You know what? I don't have time. I don't have time, and I don't want to leave my baby with somebody else when I've had the experience of being home with him and creating the same income that I would at my job." And so I made that decision right there, you guys. I decided that I wasn't going to go back to work, that I was going to stay home with my son and, figure out how to work with my baby by my side. So for those of you who don't know me, I have a hashtag that I started 6 years ago. It's "I built my business with my baby on my hip." It's a really long hashtag, but it's the only one. I'm the only one that's using it. And so you can follow my entire journey. And it's been such a blessing to be able to be with my children day in and day out, be available for them for their sports, be able to take them to school and pick them up in the afternoon, be able to make homemade meals with them, you know, have the holidays with them. And even most recently, throughout that time, I was not only able to replace my own income, I was also able to help my husband to get out of working for spas, because as a massage therapist, you often only get paid a percentage of the work that you do. And so with my income, I've been able to empower him to live more of his dream and get out of the spa and have more time freedom and location freedom with his own work as a massage therapist. And most recently, we were able to travel with our children to Mexico for an entire month and work while we were there and have a whole lot of fun and let the children experience something different. Because here in America, we are so fortunate everything that we have. And it was such a blessing to take my family somewhere away and let the kids experience something different. Watching young children working really hard and being happy doing it was incredible for them to witness. And so the Million Mom movement to me is something that I immediately locked arms with. 6.5 years ago. As soon as I saw that it was there, I grasped it and started talking about it with other moms and empowering other moms of what was possible. And I'm just so grateful for this movement and for you, Amy, for, way back when trusting Dave and drinking that kamut and everything that it's taken to get to where we are today. And I know you've been talking a lot about the effects of glyphosate and the issue that is out there. And I do want to let everybody know that we have some more giveaways coming up through our Million Mom Movement platform. And so I just want to give you all a little sneak peek that this coming Monday, we are going to be launching another giveaway for the Biomedic and the toxin that came to dinner. And so if you'd like to participate in that, you'll just have to stay tuned on our Instagram page for the Million Mom Movement. So follow us there. And I can't wait to pick the winner next week on Sunday. So in 10 days from now. And I'll pass it back to you, Amy. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, ladies. And I want to recognize Rachel, who is here with us, always behind the scenes, getting everything done. Rachel, do you want to come on and say hello? Let us give you some love and share what, being part of this Million Mom Movement community has been for you.
Hi, thanks, Amy, for the shout out. I love what I do. I work behind the scenes and support the council in any way I can and help propel the movement forward. Stephanie Dawn, she's not here with us today, but we had a quick conversation about swag coming, so yay. So we're making moves on that end, so that's exciting to kind of just throw that out there. But she let me know that she had a little reminder on her timeline that of the time when we were working together, Amy, with Stephanie on building out the website. So that was nice. And so it's been 2 years since we kind of revamped it and changed some things and really propelled the scholarship forward. So it's just such a blessing to be able to work with everybody and get to know all these ladies and the support that they give me. It's just a wonderful, wonderful community.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Rachel, and for all of your support on the back end and making the website look so pretty and functional and all the work on the scholarship program. And, we are really an incredible community here. And, it is a community. It is a collective. It is, when there's more love and fear in the world, when there's more light than darkness, and we are living that. We are moving that needle. We are being those role models and examples. We are providing hope to, honestly, so many people out in the world right now have just lost that hope. They've lost that light. And I am so proud to be here in this organization with people, with moms, with dads, with community members that are never going to let that candle go out. Like, I know for sure that this community right here and Purium plays its role, the community plays its role, the superfoods play their role, the organic farmers play their role. We all play our role here in being the light and being role models to others and getting this message out to the world to stop using this pervasive chemical, stop using this poison. I love the way you characterize that. Stop using this poison in our food supply. For us, stop buying this poison, which money talks. When enough of us stop buying the poison, the food manufacturers, big agriculture has to listen, and they already are seeing it. They already are seeing it. The growth in the organic movement has been tremendous, and that is, coming from a person that was deep into organics before the USDA stepped into organics. So So Dave Sandoval and I have been in the organic movement since the early 90s, and it's come a long way. So I want to thank everyone for being on the call. Here is the petition. You know what? I want to turn it back to a council member. Somebody just put this in the chat. Talk about the petition really quick, and what we're doing with the petition, how you can get involved, and where is it going. Who wants to jump on that?
I got it.
Awesome.
I'm watching everybody. I'm like, who's going to jump in? All right, I'm just going to go for it. So check the chat. You'll see the petition that it was actually Naeva and Rebecca Johns, who aren't here today, who put that petition together. But Cheerios has more parts per million of glyphosate than any other food tested. And
Stop
being
eating
that
Cheerios.
and being that that's the first finger food so many mothers give their toddlers, that's a really, really big deal. Because if we're destroying guts from the beginning, imagine what that's doing to health. 54% of American children are dealing with a chronic health condition. Just to really highlight that, that's more than 1 in 2. More than 1 in 2 children in America have a chronic health condition. That's a big deal. So we started this petition to get the glyphosate out of Cheerios. That's just the step 1. We need to go much bigger than that, but we would love it if you signed that petition and shared that petition on your social media and had people sign it. You're not being tracked. It's not, we created the petition. We're in charge of it. So just so you know, because I'm that girl that does not like to sign petitions. I don't know where they came from. So you don't need to worry about this one, but it's in the chat, and we would appreciate it if you would help us. You know, the only people in the world who have ever made a difference are those who care so much that they start and they lock arms with other people and they create a grassroots movement. That's who we are. That's the change that we can be in the world. And we really hope that you join us on that.
Wonderful. Well, what an amazing call today. Thank you so much for spending this hour of your valuable time with us, locked arms in this community, being the light, being the role model, being a change maker in this world. So it means the world to Dave and I. Thank you so much for being part of this Million Mom Movement community, part of this Purium community, and putting yourselves behind this movement. Dave and I take that very seriously, and the commitments we make to the quality of our products, we take that super seriously as well. So you're in the right place with Purium and the Million Mom Movement, and I can't wait to see you next time. And if you would like to bring someone to a business opportunity presentation, there's one going on tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific. We're going to talk about a family focus. We're going to have an incredible interview with someone who is in the Million Mom Movement, who's doing Purium, and feeling their passion. So please join us tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific. Go to the isharepurium.com/events. That will give you the Zoom link to tune in and dial in with that tonight. So thank you everyone so much for being here today, and most of all, being part of this community. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you, everyone.
Amy.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Passionate.
Amy. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you all
Great
so much.
Zoom.
Thank you so much, everyone. That was beautiful. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.